Hello everybody, welcome back to The Takeaway. We have another episode, and today we have a first-time guest on our show today, Marius. Thank you for joining us. You got to preach, and we're going to have a couple of questions just for you, and we're just going to have a chat around your sermon. But welcome to The Takeaway. What we do often with our first-time guests is we ask them a question. We play on the word takeaways. If you had to live off a takeaway for the rest of your life, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do you know what your favorite takeaway would be?
Yeah, most probably fish and prawns and calamari or something like that.
Nice. Is there a specific shop or a specific outlet that you frequent all the time that like makes the best fish and chips?
It's in East London.
Okay.
And,
Nice.
We call it the pensioners' place.
Okay.
Because the old people go there.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Great.
It's not a brand. It's not a typical one.
No, that's awesome. But we're so grateful that you're here with us. For those of you that don't know, Marius leads the Heartbeat Connection, the Heartbeat cluster within Cotton. But before we get going into your sermon, would you just let us know a little bit about like what you're involved in and what you do in and within the Cotton Apostolic Council, as well as the Heartbeat cluster?
Yeah, Philip. It was about 5 years ago when I could release local church leadership and just become available to everybody. So in a way, I always say to guys, when church gets a bit complicated, think about family.
Yeah.
And don't think corporation, organization. So you could almost describe my role as that of a grandfather, I guess.
Yeah.
So I essentially are there to encourage people.
Yeah.
And Linda and myself, we always had a dream that when we read the Bible, how Paul, for instance, was in Ephesus. I think he helped the guys for 2 years.
Yeah.
So we always wondered, certain leaders come in, fly in or drive in and do a conference or a training on Saturday, preach Sunday, go home. And so what we like to do is go and just spend some time, maybe a week or more. So we spend, I think, about 2 months a year in England. I go to, like this weekend coming, I'll be in Cape Town, and then a little bit after that as well. So I think our main role is to engage with church leaders. And our outcome, we want to see healthy churches. We want to see something that's healthy and not necessarily successful. Something that's wholesome, something that has all its part functioning.
Yes. No, that's amazing. But we're so grateful that you could come up and speak and share with our congregation. And on Sunday, you spoke about Christians going through hard times and suffering. So before I jump into some questions, I know you kind of camped out in Romans 5 and James 1. Would you just give us a brief overview of what you spoke about in your sermon, and then I'll dive into some questions for you.
I think I essentially said that Christians face difficulties and challenges every day. Yeah. And Christians don't get exempt from it. They don't escape that. But then the hope part I brought said, we get God to help us with that. Christianity is not escaping it, but we're also not meant to try and do it with our own devices and our own challenges. And God is willing and able to help us. And those two portions of scriptures shows, number one, that we have access into God's grace. That means God is doing stuff for us, as we don't do for ourselves, and He gives it as a gift. Yeah. And the other one was, you could ask for wisdom. You could ask His help, His advice. And that's how you overcome. Yeah. Obviously easier said than done. Yes. But that is really what those two portions communicate, and that's what we're trying to today, or to share in the message. Yeah. And I've been a Christian for 50 years now. It's also knowing that Christians go to church and stuff, but sometimes they just battle. They don't know what to do. But if we could have confidence in a God that His attitude is to help us, and He's kind to us, and He's not going to rebuke us, we will go to Him, and He says, "I will give you advice without any reproach. I won't withhold it." Yeah. No, that is really the key, isn't it? Yeah. No,
that's so good. What I'm hearing you saying also is that when you're speaking about Christians just going to church, there's sometimes a lack of understanding about suffering, and there's also a lack of understanding around who God is.
Yeah.
And so Romans 5 kind of says suffering produces perseverance, character, and hope. How would you help someone who's maybe suffering but feels like they're becoming bitter instead of hopeful?
Yeah, I think is to encourage, but I practically also I actually pray with people. I say, okay, let me journey with you.
Yeah,
I will walk with you.
Yeah.
I will. Let's talk about your problems. Let's talk about your challenge.
Yeah,
And I will then, because I think Scripture it says, see to it that nobody runs short of grace, or help the person with lame legs and stuff. So I think discipleship and true Christian walk is to help somebody weak, but not just speak it, but be there for them.
Yeah.
But and do it in such a way that they still do it and you don't do it.
Yeah.
In my early days, I think I ended up having all the burdens.
Yeah.
Now I realize, no, it's your burden, but I will help you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say all of us have difficulties and challenges.
Yes, yeah.
And so when somebody is, the problem is if somebody grew up, say, being rejected by dad or stuff, and they just have a disposition of self-pity or rejection.
Yes, yeah.
They almost relate with you in a way in saying, I will also prove that you will also reject me.
Okay. Yeah.
So they become quite obnoxious. And,
yes.
And say, no, this. I'm not going to reject you, but I'm not going to lie to you either.
Yeah.
So I think, but before honesty could come, I think you need a bit of relationship and trust.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I don't think it's a quick fix.
Yeah. It's a journey.
I think it's a journey. It's a walking together with journey.
No, that's good. And then in James 1, which is quite a famous verse, it says, consider it pure joy when facing trials. How would you put that verse towards someone who is suffering, and without minimizing their suffering, but encouraging them to consider pure joy because of what it produces in us?
Yeah. I would say, if I had to sit with somebody and argue the point, I would say, consider for a moment there's no challenges, no difficulties. It means you can overcome nothing. You're not going to grow.
Yeah.
Nobody's want to employ you.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to marry you.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know how to solve problems.
Yeah.
And if you really think about the type of masculinity or a man that you want in a woman, because I've got daughters that married, you would want somebody that's not going to die or run away when the difficulty comes.
Yeah.
So in that sense, count the joy. Then, in other words, opportunities come.
Yeah.
Consider joy. See it as an opportunity. See it as something that gives you opportunity. That's what I think it means, count the joy.
Yeah.
It's not saying, thank God for the difficulty because difficulties are nice. No, it gives me opportunity because that's how I'm going to grow. That's how I'm going to grow character. That's how I'm going to produce something of strength inside of me. As a matter of fact, I will start to be more like God.
Yeah.
I will reflect Him. I will learn to rely upon His wisdom versus my own.
Yeah.
So in that sense, count the joy because it creates opportunities and advantages.
Yeah. No, that's so good. Within the church context, how would you help churches support people who are going through like prolonged suffering, without telling them to just simply have more faith? What would be one practical thing you could help churches or maybe individuals in churches to walk this journey? Like you just mentioned, like it's not a quick fix, it's a journey that we go on. So how would you help churches to better support people who are going through these prolonged periods of suffering?
Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a long answer.
No, that's great. Thanks.
But I think the problem with church is that those who are called to equip every believer for ministry, what we do is actually the leaders we have, they are the ministers, and then the members consume ministry, so they become consumers. We have to change that.
Yeah.
because a consumer mentality just wants to receive an outcome.
Yeah.
So if we look at, for instance, discipleship, I think it just simply means to follow Christ. The problem is when we think it's a formula, but I've discovered it's just the willingness to be inconvenienced.
Yeah.
It's like having another person in your life.
Yeah.
I believe every Christian should be willing to embrace somebody struggling.
Yeah.
And to be inconvenienced. It's just like having a baby.
Yeah.
Babies come, they poo, they don't sleep, and they have all types of challenges.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I speak to young couples and young parents, they're tired.
Yeah.
I think to walk in the church, we just need a more tired Christians because they're embracing others. So my answer to you is, I think structures like community groups and all of that helps, but I think we need to have every member being willing to be inconvenienced with somebody else that is still struggling a little bit. Then we will have exponential success.
Yeah.
Because then we're willing to walk with somebody. It's like a child. I mean, you don't raise a child in a month.
Yeah.
It takes a lifetime.
Yeah.
And then they go through different cycles.
Yeah.
So they might even be a teenager, but then they could become married, and they can be whatever you go through, whatever cycles you go through.
Yeah.
So I think we need to live a life where we're willing to embrace others who are struggling.
Yeah.
But with the understanding, I'll help them to get to God because God is ultimately the one that helps us.
I'd like to shift to this idea with faith and mental health and ask a couple of questions around that. Many Christians feel guilty for struggling with anxiety or depression because they think it reflects weak faith. How would you respond to that, and how would you encourage someone in that who maybe feels a little guilty that maybe there's a theology that yes, it's true that God can heal us, we can pray to him, but yet, if we suffer with these, mental illnesses or things like that, maybe we pray for ourselves, we have people praying for us and nothing happens, maybe our faith is weak. How would you speak to someone?
I think, number one, we need to remove the stigma from certain mental health conditions. I think, and then also the medical help we might possibly get. If we can remove the stigma, we could help. Not everybody. So it's like, for instance, if you are anxious, it's a difference between anxiety that's a mental illness problem versus worrying because you're not trusting God. I don't think whatever we do is not to accuse. It's not to blame. Is to say God will help us. I think the person struggling with mental health issues, God is also able to help. But to also say to the person, I accept you the way you are, whatever challenges you have. So I think your question is very relevant. I think in my younger days, that goes back many, many years now, mental health and wholeness was not really the main dilemma. Today, I would say 8 out of 10 cases that we have is people struggling. And it's also, technically it could be somebody needs to change a lifestyle. Somebody, say for instance, it's caused because you can't sleep. I've counseled young people, and about 8 out of 10, I'm talking about kids that are like 12, 13 years old. About 8 out of 10 battles with sleeping. And that was, again, certain lifestyle choices and stuff. So I think we'll need a holistic approach. And I think in the church, we need psychiatrists, psychologists, prayers, believers, mentors, all to come together. But give a lot of respect. So somebody battling with some of that should not feel judgment. Because it could get seriously complicated. But the principle is God is there to help us.
No, that's good.
It becomes difficult, for instance, when people are married, and then a couple of years in, something happens. It could be a post-stress, PSD type of issue, that something happened, then the police or whatever. So, some of the cases are very, very difficult. But nevertheless, the church are meant to help one another. And God says also, I will help you.
No, that's good. Some practical points for this. If a believer came to you asking, why would God allow this to happen to me? How would you begin that conversation with them? There's struggles, how would you begin that conversation in them asking, how would God allow this suffering or this bad thing to happen to me?
Yeah, it's a common question that comes. I would normally rephrase it and say, you're asking the wrong question. If God provides the solution, then you say, why are you rejecting the solution?
Yeah.
So I turn the question on the person asking the question, because it's not God allowing. He gave us choices, freedom of choice, and there are circumstances, and there's outcomes that he has. So I will try and divert the question away from blaming God as if he's doing something nasty and ugly.
Yeah.
And I will testify about his character.
Yeah.
That it's not him doing something nasty.
Yeah.
And I think when we understand how the human race fell out of how God created creation, and take them back to the origin of the drama, and then his redemption. So what happened at the cross?
Yeah.
I always explain, because commonly people would think the cross, Jesus dying for us, was trying to get us to heaven. Yeah. I'm saying, no. Redemption, buying back, is to try and bring us and make us to be like he originally intended us to be.
Yeah.
So it gives me, I love the question because it gives me opportunity to tell God's plan.
Yeah.
So the question is how God allowed it is a misinformed. And then we blame God as if he's done something bad.
Yeah.
It's more like us rejecting what he offers.
Yeah. You mentioned there, which kind of got me thinking around that question of people's view of God, like an old man who wants to beat them, whatever. And you kind of mentioned that in your sermon. Could you unpack that, just that analogy that you kind of gave and spoke to us about in terms of like our view of who God is in these kinds of situations?
Yeah, I think your view of who he is going to directly impact your freedom.
Yeah. To
either approach, access, or avoid. That's reality.
Yeah.
That happens in life. You might have your own hang-ups where you don't, even if the person is perceived to be kind, and you just have your own hang-ups. But I think it's very important. So I would say from the devil or the enemy side, his main strategy will be to misrepresent who God really is.
Yeah.
Because if you could see him as unloving or judgmental or unkind or whatever, then you won't approach him.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is part of why we preach and proclaim and speak of and explain that God is kind. So I would always say to guys, if I had to describe the primary attribute of God, I would say he's loving and he's kind.
Yeah.
That's how my father was, and that's the type of father I am. But I also have seen when a father figure or a loving figure teacher is cruel, damaging, beats you up, and does not reflect kindness, but anger.
Yeah.
So when I challenge men and say, and parents, I would say, you create an environment in your home. As a matter of fact, church leaders too, you set an environment, and what you want is to create an environment that those who are in that environment can flourish.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be toxic, and what makes it toxic is fear, and then you have, because you suffered rejection and manipulation and bully tactics, versus respect, honor.
Yeah.
And that is how, then I would just explain how God's character is.
Yeah.
And that is what faith is based on.
Yeah.
And to receive, is that true or not true?
Yeah. No, that's so good. What practical habits help Christians persevere through seasons of hardships while maintaining their relationship with God? What would you say are some practical habits that Christians can put into their lives that help them persevere through those hardships?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the Christian walk is not meant to be walked by yourself. People that try to be Christians by themselves struggle.
Yeah.
I'm not, obviously God must help us, but we need honest friendship. And here's a difference between males and females.
Yeah.
If you ask a woman how she's doing, she will tell you. As a matter of fact, she will tell the whole village. Men, they're thinking of suicide. And you ask them how they're doing, they say, no, I'm okay. And I think it is, you have to persist in a relationship.
Yeah.
And my challenge here today will be to the men and say, thinking that you can go it by yourself is the biggest mistake. It's a lie. You don't have to have 1 million friends, but 1 or 2 or 3 that you can trust, that you can say how you feel, dealing with some of your inner demons. I would say the Christian walk, no matter how you look in the Bible, is not meant to be a walk by yourself. You walk it in a community. African people understand it better. European people, are, you have to convince them because they don't think like that. The culture is individualistic. And we need to understand that how God wants us to live is together, to work it out. There's scriptures that speaks about if the one is strong and the other one falls, can lift that one up. So that's actually my experience. People who are by themselves, they either become arrogant, and then when they fall, they're too proud, and then they suffer, and then they fall on the wayside oftentimes.
No, that's so good. We've just come off the back of a series in Proverbs, and last week we kind of had a conversation around friendship. So it's glad that you could actually just share a little bit about that, just off the back of what we spoke about last week. Just one last question in terms of if someone heard your sermon or heard this conversation, what's one thing around hardship and suffering, maybe understanding suffering and who God is? What's one thing you would want them to take out of what you spoke about in your sermon or this conversation that we've just had? What's one thing that is a takeaway for them?
Yeah, on the premise, it will definitely happen. The one thing I would say, don't try and do this without God's help. God knows we need his help. And we must ask. And that's all I would like to say. Ask and believe. And that's got to do with how you trust that person. The Christian walk, like I already said here, we need one another, but you can't be a Christian without believing in God. It's like a fish. Can you imagine you're a fish, but there's no water to swim in? You're not going to survive. If you're a bird and there's no sky to fly in, how are you going to survive? If you're a child of God and you don't have any connection with God, how's it going to work? So I'm just saying, go to him, tell him about it, speak to him, see what he tells you. And that's where your faith is, because he promised. He says, I will help you. I'll give you wisdom.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know this is not a very surface level conversation and topic. I know this can be quite convoluted and deep and complicated, but thank you for just sharing some pearls of wisdom there and some biblical truths. I just trust that for those of you watching and listening that you'd be encouraged by today's conversation. But again, you can also go and watch the sermon, and we trust that you will be encouraged. And if there are people in your world that maybe are going through a hard time, we'd encourage you to share this conversation with them, share the sermon with them, and help walk with them. Maybe it's time to be a little bit inconvenienced, to go this journey with our brothers and sisters. But Marius, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for this conversation. We really appreciate you sharing. I think everyone's going through something, and just taking the time to share with us. But thanks for the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Hope to see you soon. Keep well. Thank you guys. Hope you are encouraged, and we will catch you in the next episode. Cheers.